Hi, my name is Linda Cirulli-Burton, and welcome to this channel named Above the Battleground ACIM. Above the Battleground is based on the teachings of a spiritual self-study path known as A Course in Miracles. I've been a student of A Course in Miracles since 1992 and recently have felt the strong desire to share some of the lessons and inspiration from this path in order that they would go deeper within me and, oh, by the way, maybe be of benefit to you. Today, I wanted to focus on the concept of forgiveness and a new way to look at the blame game. In a recent video, I shared with you that I had started to reread The Disappearance of the Universe by Gary Renard. Here's what the book looks like, and here's the subtitle: Straight Talk About Illusions, Past Lives, Religion, Sex, Politics, and the Miracles of Forgiveness. Now, back in the day, I read this book a couple of different times, and now it's been, a couple of decades. And I've revisited the book and fallen back in love with the book, and what it does for me is it makes A Course in Miracles really, really jump. And it's kind of written in colloquial language and very easy to understand. So in chapter 7, called The Law of Forgiveness, the Ascended Masters, Arten and Persa, share with Gary details that would help you and I be able to practice true, real forgiveness. And I will tell you that this chapter, actually the whole book, actually like A Course in Miracles, is so radical and so transformational that the impact is through the roof. Anyway, it's always good when we're going to talk about true form of something to maybe address what is not true. So, A Course in Miracles does talk about forgiveness to destroy. And dare I say that most of us, if not all of us, have been practicing forgiveness to destroy. And I think that we do it with the best of intentions. I think we do it thinking we're doing the right thing. I get all that. In a way, when you scratch the surface of forgiveness to destroy, it really is sort of like, I am on a higher spiritual plane. You are unworthy. You actually did this to me. You hurt me. Maybe physically, emotionally, spiritually, but you did it. But I am going to another level. And even though you are unworthy, I forgive you. Now, once again, forgiveness to destroy says, literally, you did commit this sin. I know you committed this sin, but I am choosing to forgive you. But it almost feels like I'm denying the truth. It's that weird feeling, and it does take a long time to really, if ever, feel authentic. Now, I want to hit on the topic of illusion because this is very, very important to what I want to address from A Course in Miracles and from Gary Renard in terms of forgiveness. We did not leave God, but we think we did. Our ego mind allegedly wants to protect us from the wrath of God. But really, the ego mind wants to sustain itself. So the ego mind created my life in this body with me. I was participating in the creation of my life. So what we did, me and the deals I'm making with the ego mind, we lay out people, circumstances, events, so I could project my guilt all over the place. Now let me just tell you, projection always follows denial. I have guilt. I repress it or I deny it. The word for A Course in Miracles is denial. I deny my guilt, but it's got to go somewhere. So I get to project it out on people, circumstances, events, and then I feel innocent. The bottom line, someone else is guilty, not me. And the bottom line is everything is an illusion. In fact, I want to say that forgiveness may be the last great illusion, and it stands between the ego, hell, life in hell, and the right mind, heaven. Forgiveness stands between those worlds and will help us reach where we want to go. All right, so here in lesson 134 in A Course in Miracles, it says, there is a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness and perceive it open wide and welcome. When you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for that is self-deception. Ask instead, would I accuse myself of doing this? This, I will tell you, there were giant breakthroughs that occurred in my life this past week. Sometimes when I choose a topic to handle with the video, it's because of something that I am absolutely experiencing at the time and that I need to address. So let me just say that I really had my comeuppance this week. Let me give you two very powerful examples. So, there are two friends, let's say Jeannie and Jane. And I said to my sisters recently, do you think that I should be upset because they've never contacted me to ask me about my brother? I've alluded to the fact that one of my brothers is going through, has very aggressive cancer on the head, and has been going through radiation treatments. These particular friends never contacted me to ask me how he was doing. So, I was wondering if I should be annoyed with them. But I knew that I was, It was a moot discussion, if you will. Anyway, interestingly, while I was thinking about that, I get a phone call from another friend. Let's call her Julie. And Julie is talking to me, and it's been a year since I've talked to Julie. She's a wonderful friend from decades ago, but she lives an extraordinarily busy life. And while we were talking, I realized that the last time we were together, Julie told me about her daughter and the very severe cancer that this daughter was experiencing. And that treatment has been going on this whole entire year. Now, this is what I want to tell you. Never once did I call my friend Julie to ask her how her beloved daughter was doing. And her daughter I knew well back in the day. So go figure that, But Jean and Jane, I was going to hold them hostage because for the past 2 months, they haven't asked me how things were going with my brother. So I have to say that I got it. I got it so strongly. There's something else too that I want to share that's kind of a source of a real embarrassment for me and a real forgiveness lesson. I have a friend that when my husband died back in 2017, I presume that she and I were close, but I never heard from her. I never got a card. I never got a note. I never got a text. I never heard from her. So let me just tell you that I've been holding it against her since 2017, that she never made contact. Well, it happened that recently I called a friend who happened to be having dinner with the woman who had neglected me and neglected my pain back in 2017. And all my bad feeling towards the woman who neglected me came up. But I got to tell you something intriguing. It wasn't the only thing that came up. What also came up for me was what I had not done upon the death of a couple that were very close to me and my husband. That the man died, that the woman died. I failed to respond to the deaths of either one of them. Now, I can say, oh, yes, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, went into 4th stage. I lost my mother. I lost my brother. I could go through all that, but the bottom line was that I, Linda, had never made contact with the survivors of this beautiful couple who opened their doors to me and my husband. Summer after summer after summer, we would visit them out west, and they would take care of us, and we had the time of our lives with them. Look at what I did. I never did anything. So everything was coming up together, and I can't tell you how happy I am that it all came up, because it was coming up for the dismissal. And one of the great things in that chapter 7, and it's interesting because I memorized this years ago, with the Ascended Masters told Gary of a forgiveness thought process. But it was just recently, with my recommitment to A Course in Miracles, that I'm getting it. And the thought process shared by the Ascended Masters goes like this. You're not really there. If I think you are guilty in the cause of the problem, and if I made you up, then the guilt and fear must be in me. But since the separation from God never occurred, I forgive both of us for what we haven't really done. Now there is only innocence, and I join with the Holy Spirit in peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what you need to forgive, when anything out there pushes your buttons, your alleged buttons, whenever it pushes your buttons, it's your stuff. It's your stuff. It's my stuff. It's stuff that is unhealed. And when I can look at my stuff that's not your stuff, because I created all of this because it is my script, then I can choose to practice real forgiveness that says you and I are living in a dream, and we never left God the Father. Thank you for joining me today.